Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, we'll be doing a review for Ultimate Spider-Man number 6. This is the last episode on this opening arc, so that's going to be really fun. But let's talk about the creative team. We have writer Jonathan Hickman. We also have artist Marco Cicchetto returning to main duties. Matthew Wilson and colors, letters by Corey Petit. And you'll see a plethora of covers at the end of the video. Stay tuned for that. In this issue, the shocking conclusion of the opening arc, Spider-Man must finally confront the head honcho himself, Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin. Kingpin, as the owner and operator of the Daily Bugle, has been working with the Makers Council to control the spread of information in their favor, which means he's the first domino that must be toppled to end their regime. Plus, Mary Jane holds her own. Enough said. That's right, a lot of things come to light in this issue when it comes about the family, and this issue really kind of encapsulates everything that we've been doing up so far, right? We've been reestablishing the lore of Spider-Man, reestablishing this world, but we've also been diving into what makes this a family affair, and I think that's what it's going to be. We have a really fun alliance with the Green Goblin because everything is a little bit different in this ultimate version of the Marvel Universe, which is really fun. Also, as I mentioned, we have Marco Cicchetto returning to the main duties, and I think that if we're gonna do a little, in between arcs, or as the arcs are progressing, if you need a fill-in artist to do an issue that's a little bit, kind of like a flashback, or an issue that focuses solely on Peter and his family and stuff like that, I think that's a great way to do it. I do want the main action to come from Marco Cicchetto. His style is just very dynamic, very expressive. I think he's got a handle on what these characters should look like and should be acting like, and look like on the page. So really enjoy that. So let me give you a quick preview of the art here. So we're gonna get a little bit in spoilers for this issue. So if you haven't read it, maybe go check it out first. I highly recommend it. So as you can see here, Peter is confronted by his family because he's all beat up. Now we don't know what happened yet. It's been 4 months since he first kind of may found out about Spider-Man, and now his family is questioning what the heck happened to his face. Ultimately, Peter will end up filling the family in, and that's kind of using this device as the frame of the story. It's really fun. We flash back to the Green Goblin and Spider-Man, who apparently doesn't even have a name as of this point. Um, you know, so we flash back to them scouting out Wilson Fisk, and just I really, like I said, I love Cicchetto's art. I love his dynamic designs. I love how he encapsulates in this Green Goblin. There's still a little bit of emotion in his face, right? Even though the mask is static, the way he chooses to shoot some of these angles or draw some of these angles, I guess. Yeah, and of course, heroes coming in, just looks great. One of my favorite pages. This is, there's a big fight that breaks out with Fisk. I just love this sequence. It's so good. Like, we don't know what or how Fisk has enhanced his body, but it's definitely a little bit different than just like being mainly muscle from the universe in the 616. But yeah, just I love this page. I stared at it for a few minutes when I was going through it because you can feel the pain that Spider-Man is experiencing. So I'm really enjoying this arc. Really in love with this Ultimate Universe. Jonathan Hickman taking on the Spider-Man book. I think it's one of the best things that's happened to the character in a long time. So I just love it. I love the new mythos. I love how the characters have a family and they are. It's more about community. And of course, I think just everybody. Hickman grabbed my favorite stuff from Spider-Man and just threw it into this new world, and backed up with Cicchetto and an army of fantastic artists that have come in throughout this first arc. I think it really works. Hopefully people get on this either when you're a Marvel Unlimited or when the collection comes out, because this is the perfect entry point. This first arc, just a beautiful entry point for this. So hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, we're going to be doing a review for The Invincible Iron Man number 19. This is a new book for Marvel Comics. Let's talk about the creative team before we get into this review. This is written by Gary Duggan with art by Andrea DeVito. Brian Valencia on colors, letters by Joe Caramagna. We do have an editor's note that this takes place during Fall of X number 5 and before X-Men number 35. So as you know, the Krakoan age has come to an end. But we still have a few remnants there. Iron Man definitely needs to still figure out what's going on in his world and put things back together. I don't know if the series ends with with Iron Man number 20, but it definitely finishes off the story of anything X-Men involved, anything revolving around Orchis with this issue and the next issue. So in this one, we have War Machine versus the Iron Man. From Iron Man to War Machine, the Iron Patriot, and back, James Rhodes has always been there for his best friends. Now, Rhodey has endured months in one of America's most brutal prisons to protect Tony Stark. What happens when he has had enough? Well, what happens is that now that James is out of prison and Orc is still running around, he's gonna go to the bar without a name and recruit some of the most dastardly villains. I guess not the most dastardly villains, just like the villains that are around, to put an end to Orcus as the X Men are wrapping things up. So this was a really fun issue. I really like seeing Rhodes kind of at the front of the book, but definitely things definitely clash with him and Iron Man. Um, I would say calling this War Machine versus Iron Man is a little misleading, but there's definitely something there, some tension. But those guys go way back. There's definitely a lot of different problems that they have to solve and work through. But I think Gary Duggan does a really good job at putting everything into kind of perspective, and also just bringing this story to its only conclusion. Really, there's a lot of finality in this issue, even though, like I said, they're setting up a few more things for the next one. So I'll be really interested to see about the future of this series. I think Andrea DeVito does a really great job, especially with the amount of characters that had to be dealt with in this issue. So let's go take a look at some of the art so you can see what I'm talking about. Here we see, I love the the armor just kind of as he's walking out of it, right? I think that's a really cool note. I love the Dutch angle almost when Rhodey walks into the bar. It just makes for really good pacing, really interesting storytelling as well. I think that's kind of what captures this fun. Now they do go all out here, and there's a lot of big fights. All those big sentinels from Orcus are still running around, and it's just really kind of fun to take a look at you have Stiltman and you have the Rhino, Sandman, and all the villains that have been recruited to go into this fight. But yeah, I think even after this, Rhodey still has a few things to hash out with Tony, and that's what this issue really focuses on. So really fun stuff. This has been one of my favorite Iron Man runs from the beginning, from Tony losing everything. I don't know what the status quo is going to be going forward, but I'm very excited to see where the character goes in the future. Also, very excited to follow along with Gary Duggan, whatever his next project may be. So, hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, we'll be talking about Dracula Blood Hunt number 2. This is another Blood Hunt tie-in. This is one of the tie-ins that I highly encourage you to pick up. Really cool cover by Rod Reese. I love the details of the vampires reflected in the sword, and of course, what does Daredevil have to do with all this? But let's talk about the creative team before we get into this. This is written by Danny Laurie with art by Vincenzo Caratu, colors by David Correal, letters by Joe Savino. What a fantastic team! So this takes place after the events of Blood Hunt number 3. So if you haven't read that, there will be a little bit of spoilers for that. Brielle finds out that Blade, her father, is really behind everything, and she is the only one that can stop it by killing him. That is the reason that Dracula has been kind of looking for her and protecting her and bringing her to the Avengers. So, in this issue, in the deepest, darkest, unholiest night ever known to man or beast, Dracula, Lord of Vampires, has come to Bloodline, Daughter of Blade, demanding a sacrifice, a devil's bargain of the soul, a soul in peril. Seek a priest, a deal to escape, a lawyer, and a devil must be met face to face. Luckily, Bloodline, there is one man that fulfills all the three criteria. There's none other than the Daredevil. But does he or anyone stand a chance against a city full of bloodthirsty vampires? and the unending night in which they feed. As soon as I saw that Daredevil was going to be part of this book, I was very excited because I think, and you'll see what I'm talking about when we look at the art. I think that's a really fun story. So one thing that Danny Laurie does very well is gives the reader context for what's going on in Brielle's mind, right? We get to see in the first page kind of a recap of issue number 3 of Blood Hunt. So even if you missed out on what's going on, this series will catch you up. Obviously, you should really read the main series, but this is probably one of my favorite tie-ins. I think it's just really fun. I haven't read much Brielle, in the past, so it's really cool to kind of go in and see what's going on. There's action. There's a lot of drama, and then you also have Daredevil just kind of being one of the best versions of the character that I've read. Like, uh, my favorite Daredevil is righteous, but he's also looking out to protect people, and he's just courageous and won't stop to fight. And he might have to fight Dracula, so that's just a bonus. Let's pull up some of the preview art so we can see some of Karatsu's work with Coriel. And here's what I was talking about. This first page just gives you some of the most important panels in the issue of Blood Hunt number 3 that involve Brielle. So, you know, because of the sun being down, her vampire powers are fully out. So she has a little bit of extra stamina. But even then, look at this page of just Brielle slicing through vampires. And of course, there's so many, and she may not be enough. And here he comes in, the Devil of Hell's Kitchen. I love the panel at the top where you can just see the eyes. And then, of course, him kind of coming down from the rafters there. Very cool. I also really appreciate every artist working on this having their own take on vampires. I think that's a lot of fun. And then here's a little bit of spoilers, but this next page, I just really love the sequence. Afterwards, when Dracula finally comes for Brielle, Matt feels the need to protect her, even though that she may not really be in danger. But I love the fight. Just great sequence of panels, and then ending with this overshot of Dracula, looming over Daredevil. Just such a cool fight. I really, really love this page. It was one of my favorite things that I read this week. So yeah, this issue, a lot of fun. Like I said, highly recommended if you're reading all this Bloodline stuff or all this Blood Hunt stuff. I think it's going to be, this is crucial reading because it really puts you in the mind of Brielle and everything that she may have to do in the future. So, hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Doctor Strange number 16. This is a Blood Hunt tie-in. Let's talk about the creative team before we get into this book. This book is written by Jed MacKay with Pascal Ferry on art, Heather Moore on colors, letters by Corey Petit, really great cover by Alex Ross. So this takes place between issues of Blood Hunt 3 and 4, which the last one we saw as of the coming out of this issue was number 3. So there's going to be maybe a little bit of spoilers for number 3, but not really anything too crazy. Doctor Strange is kind of on his own a little bit after the events of issue number 1. So in this issue, Doctor Strange the Vampire Earth's Mystic Defender is off the board as the skies darken. Can Wong and Kalia save Steven from himself, or can they save themselves from him? So yeah, it's really funny because at the Sanctum Sanctorum, the Doctor Strange's body itself is just kind of being held back by magic because he's a vampire at the moment. So his astral mind is somewhere else trying to help out. But his body itself is being held captive by Wong in magic. So we do have the introduction of a character that I'm not very familiar with, Victor Strange. I believe this is Strange's dad. Somehow he is in a spirit form as well. So the whole crux of this issue is that he takes over the body of the vampire because the vampire Stephen Strange, his body is empty, is an empty vessel at the time. It's just really acting on its own nature, right, of being a vampire, while Dr. Stephen Strange is out doing stuff in his astral form. Let's take a look at some of the preview art here. We get a quick introduction, a little bit of a figuring out who is Victor Strange, why would he be the one. We do see that there's a shady figure, and then there's a reveal, of course, as to who's helping out. Uh, Interesting to see Wong in this like almost like a Agent of Shield outfit. I don't know if I missed something there. I'm not up to date on the Strange series up until before Blood Hunt. So I might have missed something there as to why Dr. Wong, no, Dr. Wong, as to why Wong is wearing shield paraphernalia. But then, as I mentioned, we get to see Wong here and the vampire body of Doctor Strange just being held by the magic. And of course, Victor Strange, looking for revenge, is out to find a new corporeal body to interfere and do shenanigans. So, although I don't think this issue is crucial for the Blood Hunt tie-ins. I think it was still a fun one to read. There's a few other issues that really feel like they're only Blood Hunt tie-in in name. This one definitely feels like a big part of the story, even if it's a little bit unrelated to everything that's going on. So I really enjoy this issue. I like Pascal Ferry's art very much. I think he can go for the gore, but he can also just show us like this whole mystical stuff. There's some really cool covers for this book as well. So if you have read this, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.